clicker. It's great being here. Thanks for having us. So, my name's Nathan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Jhana. Jhana is a mobile advertising company that has recently become the largest provider of free internet in emerging markets. In the last 2 years, we've provided over 30 million people with free, unrestricted internet access. And we've done so because over the last 8 years, we've been building out technology that gets integrated into the back-end billing systems of mobile operators around the world. In fact, we've integrated now with over 300 mobile carriers across 90 countries. And while we have this massive global breadth, we are focused exclusively on emerging markets. And I get a question a lot, as a company that's based in Boston, why emerging markets? And the answer is pretty simple, and it comes down to growth, right? If you go out and you ask P&G or Unilever or Coca-Cola and Pepsi or even Amazon and Apple for that matter about where their future earnings and revenue growth is going to come from, all of these organizations across all of these different verticals, they say the same thing, right? They say countries like India is where our growth is going to come from, or Brazil or China, right? There is this massive upswell of this rise in the emerging middle class. In fact, right now today, we are witnessing the fastest and largest economic transition in human history. And this is something that the global brands are increasingly aware of. They are increasingly aware that for whether they're Coca-Cola or General Motors, for them to stay relevant over the next 10 years, they have to win in emerging markets. It's critical. And so that's been, that is one of the reasons at least why we're really focused on that as well. And if you look at just the sheer numbers, more than 2/3 of the world's consumers currently live in these emerging markets, right? And by 2020, almost half of them, over 2 billion consumers in emerging markets are going to be carrying around essentially little supercomputers in their pockets. And the price point of these Android phones, while they've dropped dramatically, they're still in large part today not being leveraged the way they could be leveraged. But by 2020, a consumer in emerging markets who's a smartphone user, that individual is going to be consuming 10 times as much data on their smartphone as they do today. And so there is no question, right, that global brands, they know that they have to figure out how to leverage these devices, how to leverage smartphones to be able to start getting access and getting mind share for consumers in emerging markets. But it's clearly not easy, right? It shouldn't come to a surprise to virtually no one here that in India, India is has one of the largest ad blockers per capita than any other country. There's more people using ad blockers per capita in a market like India, and increasingly Brazil as well, than virtually any other market. And what that means is, like, consumers in emerging markets, they have even less tolerance for mobile ads than their counterparts in the more developed countries. And the reason for this is several-fold. For one thing, bandwidth is expensive, right? Bandwidth is slower. Bandwidth ultimately is unreliable. And so while as an advertising community, we've had increasingly a focus on building these beautiful, rich media, interactive, immersive experiences that are ads, the reality for consumers in emerging markets is quite different because of these limitations around bandwidth. Consumers, these individuals don't want to necessarily engage with mobile advertising in general, and that's created a pretty major problem for advertisers. And so, if you look at the economics, there's over $200 billion right now being spent on advertising in emerging markets, and that spend is not going to digital for the most part. Advertisers are retrenching. That spend is going into television, or it's going into billboards, it's going into radio. While emerging markets are the fastest growing ad markets in the world, they're not seeing digital take off the way I think a lot of people who are experts in this field were expecting it to. And so with that, I'd like to introduce the second product that our company is putting onto the market. We've been around for 8 years. We've had one product, which was MSent, our sponsored app store. Today we're launching our second product, which is geared directly at solving this core problem the advertisers are facing. And what this product is it's a mobile web browser. And what's unique about our mobile web browser is that we're enabling users in emerging markets to surf the net without incurring cellular data costs. And for advertisers, what we're trying to do is we're trying to provide them with an opportunity to get in front of their next billion users in a way that's not intrusive, in a way that's not interruptive, but rather in a way that ultimately enables these users to consume the very content they want to consume. So ads within this browser are perceived by our users not to be something that's kind of obnoxious in nature, but rather these ads are the things that are enabling the users themselves to consume the content, right? And so what we're providing advertisers is a way to provide targeted users with a mechanism to get access to the content, whether those users are clicking on the ads or not. And I think this is a radical departure from how we typically think about ads, right? Instead of the thing that we get inserted in the middle of the favorite television program that you want to watch, or the banner that gets inserted into the web page that you want to view. Ads traditionally disrupt the consumption of content. They interrupt that flow. What we're presenting is something that does the opposite, that enables users to consume the content they want to consume. And what I think is interesting about this product is that we're kind of bridging this divide. We're giving advertisers what they want, in the form of a profiled, rich, engaged audience of users, and we're giving users what they want. Being able to consume digital content without incurring that data cost. So, as of right now, you can start playing around with our browser. It's MSent browser, if you look for it in the Google Play Store. If you'd like to learn more about what we're offering advertisers, you can go check out our website. And what's kind of unique about this particular event is while I give talks like these quite often, this is, I think, one of the first times where I've had the Jhana team come join us for this event. So not only can you go to our website or talk to me afterwards, but you can come meet the Jhana team. Can the guys from Jhana, everyone raise your hand? So we've got a whole bunch of people who will be here to answer your questions. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Nathan, for a very crisp presentation there. Thank you once again.
Yep.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, with that, let's march ahead and invite our next speaker.